My name's Shane Morris. I'm the Chief Technical Officer at KarelCAD. Basically, that means I'm responsible for figuring out whatever our guys tell you we're going to be able to do for you and how we're actually going to deliver that. I'm also responsible for all of our technical strategy within the business. Apart from that, I'm an equity partner in KarelCAD, so obviously have the responsibilities associated with that. Today here we've got Matthew Shields and Nathan Rubottom, who've been very involved in the project. Some of you will obviously know Jeff Thew, who's been very involved in this project the whole way along. If you're wondering where Jeff is, his wife had a baby about a week ago, so he's off looking after his family duties on that front. For those of you that don't know KarelCAD, we're a solutions provider for the Autodesk technologies. We do all of the traditional Autodesk vendor partner type related activities with products and services. We do have a very strong and large consulting group as well that do all the high-end projects with integration and high-end development in workflow and business solutions for our industry. Just thought I'd do a bit of a recap for you on what KarelCAD's committed into this to date, and then cover a bit about what we're going to continue to do in the future. So the first thing I should say is this initiative has the absolute full commitment of the board at KarelCAD, and basically it just runs on its own, and I report up to the board from the guys as the various projects continue on. We've had a very strong resource commitment. I've heard Warwick's joke about maybe being part-time in his real role. I think there's probably about 3 guys in our organisation that are in a very similar situation. I know when I can't find them, they're usually chasing up BIM-MEPAUS project work. Okay, so we've obviously tried to work very, very closely through all phases of the project. The guys have been caught up in fortnightly meetings really for a couple of years now. So we're at an absolute minimum, we're committing to that. There's obviously quite a lot of travel involved in that. We've visited multiple cities and done hundreds and hundreds of presentations of the solution and the workflows to all levels of client, from architects and consulting engineers right through to, in some cases, the actual clients themselves. We do actually promote the initiative at all of our events as well, so whether that's just something like a Revit user group, or we are actually promoting at really any opportunity that we get to try and get the engagement across the whole industry, not just from the one discipline. We're working very, very closely with TSI, especially on the content side, to get that all happening as far as the actual constructible products go for you. So we believe we're approaching about $250,000 that we've invested into this just to date on this process so far. Okay, so resources wise, the regular people that are involved are Matthew Shields and Jeff Thew and Nathan Rubottom. For those of you that don't know KarelCAD that well, we do actually have quite a number of people in the background as well working on this. So 2 other technical people that are involved, Simon Whitbread and Sam Saliba. Simon was previously with Becker in New Zealand. He's got a very, very strong mechanical background, and Sam actually has an electrical background, so Sam's background will actually come into a lot of use as we go through in some of these next standards along the way. And then obviously I've been involved too. So our sort of strategy is we have the core group involved, but there are actually other people working in the background doing QA and understanding that. So at these times where Jeff's away, we do actually have other people continuing on with the work. Okay, so on the software development and the content side, so I just wanted to say today thank you to the manufacturers who've come on board. All up there's 12 manufacturers that have agreed to support this and have content under development. I want to thank the manufacturers for their patience. Certainly, some of these projects have probably taken a little while at the outset to get to where we want them to. Certainly, we're very much back on track, and I believe Jim will cover more detail on that in his presentation. Okay, so we're actively engaged with these suppliers to have their products built. We really do understand the need for you guys for the constructible content on the fabrication side, but also we're very conscious that we need to have the right content for the consulting side as well. So we're taking those things into account. Jeff Thew's probably a little more from the fabrication end, and Simon Whitbread in the background is probably a little more from the consulting side, so those guys kind of balance each other out when they have a meeting and get into discussions about maybe how this stuff should work. Okay, so we have an ongoing plan for continuation of the content development and the template. We do have a very clear project plan with clear timelines. That's obviously constantly reviewed, and we're working on releasing some information about version control and the template updating frequency. So any user input that's come back, and we have had some in the last couple of weeks, is actually going back into those templates. So we act on that immediately, review what needs to be done, figure out what parts we can do, and we act on those, and then we pass that on to TSI for anything specific that they need to do. Okay, looking towards the formation of a user group. Additionally, the first 5 companies that purchased the actual subscription packages, we went out and did the actual installation and training on several of those sites, made sure it was up and running and working in their environment. Okay, so we'll just keep reviewing that and improving that based upon your feedback. So as you find issues and more that we need to do with those templates, make sure that information's coming back to us. Standards, obviously we need to support standards along the way. There's a range of extra standards for other disciplines that are coming through, so we're actively involved in that. But other standards like COBE and IFC, the ANZ Revit standards, we're very supportive of those. The way that the content's being built and the way the data's being handled in those should be relatively easy to work within those environments. Autodesk are obviously well down the path of their collaboration environment, so we're working very closely with them on that. And a little later this afternoon, I'll actually talk to you a bit more about another collaboration tool called VAO that addresses the construction and operations and maintenance side in great depths of detail and very differently to what we've ever really seen before out of our industry. Education-wise, so as I mentioned before, we're doing this continual informing around the industry at our various user groups and events, seminars, that side. In addition, though, we've worked on this BIM 101 course. It's actually been developed as an online on-demand course. So for those who don't know, KarelCAD, we've worked with a group out of Canada called Global E-Training, and we've worked with them and developed a whole range of online training programs. If you actually do those training courses, you effectively do the same training that you would do in an instructor-led situation, but you do it all online in a guided way. You still get the same certificate of completion that you get if you did the instructor-led course, and it is still the standard Autodesk certification out of that. So we've worked with those guys to add in this BIM 101 course. That has been tested with a range of people with a lot of great feedback, and that's going to be available very shortly just once we incorporate some of those changes. So by all means ask Matt or Nathan or myself later about if you'd like more detail on that area. We found the online training very, very popular at the moment, where companies are looking for having their staff maybe a little less time out of the office, but they actually still need training. So this on-demand methodology through the web means you can combine some instructor type led training and some on-demand, so people can do it in their own time or maybe outside of general office hours. Okay, we've also got our consulting group across this at all levels. Something to keep in mind, I saw Mr. Cheng's presentation there before. Most of those education options, you may or may not be aware, we actually already deliver all those high-level BIM sessions, so we can come out to your office and educate people that are more senior on the general concepts, right down into the very depths of detail on the actual BIM management side, so keep that in mind as well. As far as the future goes, Autodesk have been very clear on what they're doing on that front, so you would know by now that they recently acquired the MAP software, which has been through the logo change process now, and now has the Autodesk fabrication badges all over it. Autodesk for a number of years now have made it very clear that they were going to go down the fabrication path, but I do think it has actually helped by the industry here being very behind and very forward thinking about how to go about this. That has probably helped them make some of these decisions about acquisition of products that are going to enhance things for you. So that development of those products is all now under Autodesk. They do have a very clear path on how that's going to be integrated and where they're going to be in 2 or 3 years' time with that, and I assure you it's very, very interesting, the path that they're on there. They've more recently also done some acquisitions around tools for BIM in the field and BIM for FM, so I believe more is going to be covered on that in quite a bit of detail at the upcoming BIM Summit, which is in Sydney later this month. Yeah. Okay, so feedback. Currently, you can send feedback to karelcad.bma@karelcad.com.au, or submitted. Be pleased to take all of it through the website as well. He doesn't get enough email. There's an online community in development, so we're working with the BIM-MEPAUS committee on that to encourage further comments as a means to continue to support the development material further. Please talk to your suppliers and tell them about the initiative and the need for the content, and make sure that you're talking to them about what the value is for you so that they understand why you want it. Okay, there's also some flyers here at the event, so see one of our guys at the KarelCAD stand and make sure you use the tools for input. Any suggestions just from that website address go straight through to the developers, and when there's new content posted to the site, then any subscribers will receive that information as updates. So we're continuing to invest. As recently as yesterday, we actually acquired our largest competitor in the manufacturing space in Australia. So that's a company called ADA CAD Partners. So we're already almost the largest, but now we've actually just doubled the size of our manufacturing-based team. So that's been a great move forward for us. They have a very, very strong services and customer-oriented focus, so we felt they were a very good fit for our business. We're very committed to continuing along with the success here, and I want to thank BIM-MEPAUS and AMCA for their continued support of our involvement.